Good evening and thanks for watching the latest edition of Goodwin Boxing Instagram Live. It's probably been the first day that I've just kept myself well away from all the political stuff and the stuff with Cummings and everything else. It's got to the stage where for me I've just about had enough. I think we all have, and hopefully it's just dealt with very quickly if they're going to deal with it. But it's not great, but hopefully there's better news with vaccines out there and treatments and stuff like that. So hopefully it will let us get back to a bit more normal, not only in boxing, but in terms in life. So today we have 4 guests. Hopefully everybody's able to join us. And I'll start from the back first. At 7:30, we have a young man, a 26-year-old man from Sussex, Mark Butler. Very, very talented young boxer. He is 2-0 with 1 KO and a big future ahead of him. Before then, at 7:20, we have Townley, a young man from Plymouth who's had an up and down career, and we'll be talking to him about that. 7:10, we've got a very interesting person joining us. Jordan Foster does a lot of work for boxers, a lot of PR, and we'll be talking to him about what he does in the role of boxing. And at 7 o'clock, we've got one of the stalwarts of boxing of times gone past since I was involved, Tommy Gilmour, who's now ventured into the world of darts. He now looks after people like Gary Anderson. But I don't think he's involved in boxing anymore. But we're going to try and get hold of Tommy now and speak to him. One of the people I looked up to when I started out in boxing was Tommy. Let's see if we can track him. Tommy, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And how are you?
Yeah, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. I was just saying that when I started off 10 years ago, you were one of I'd say the top people in the sport, weren't you, at that time?
Well, it would be nice to think that we played our part somewhere along the line.
Yeah, you had some champions, didn't you? Quite a few of them.
Oh, I've had a few. I think 6 world champions and European and British and Commonwealth, and been involved in about 70 world title fights. So I suppose we'll probably, it was either that or get a real job.
So what was who was the most difficult boxer you ever had to look after?
Oh, the most difficult. Probably the one that I had a lot of fond memories. I had a boy who fought for the British Championship, Ronnie Carroll, because I think in the 40 odd years that I was managing, he was the only one who ever got the better of me, because he used to just laugh at me, and he would go and charge things to my room and buy everybody in the bar drinks and stuff like that. So it was a fun time, and it's only because he made me laugh that I let him away with it. But he was a good lad deep down, you know. Some problems with some of the other ones, which they were problems, but a wee bit like my fellow Scotsman with Alec Ferguson. When there's problems in the dressing room, get rid of them.
And what I mean, looking back on, you had a brilliant career in boxing. What would be your favourite moment if you could choose one of all of the things that happened to you?
Well, I think the most important. I think that the first time when I had the first British champion in Steve Boyle, that meant something. But to promote the Pat Clinton World Championship fight and manage my first world champion and promote my first world champion, and it was always done. It was done in such a shoestring manner, where I had every penny I had in the world was put onto that, and we were so poor that, you know, my 2 kids and my wife, we done everything. We designed posters, we drove them to the printers, we sat and made plastic coatings for everything was done, and I think that was so special. Yeah. You know, and to do that before I was 40, because at that time it was still quite difficult to get a shot at a world championship. I mean, my dad, who'd been in the business for 40 or 50 years and had recognised in that Fleischer book as one of the top managers in the world, only ever had 2 people box for a world championship. I had two of them boxing the same night for a world championship. So times had changed over from the 50s onwards.
I mean, so what would have been towards the end of boxing? How did you feel it was going, and how do you feel boxing is today compared to what it was when you were sort of flying in the business?
Well, I think back then, you know, we didn't have the benefit of the internet, which has brought its good points, and it's also got its bad points because everybody's an expert now. And I think that they were more involved because of the internet and Instagram and Facebook and everything else. Everybody wants to be famous. The only thing we ever wanted to do was make money. It didn't matter if we were famous or not. You know, but again, that's maybe me as a canny Scotsman. But so I think the internet and everything, I liked the live public. The idea of having the live public, and you had to get out, you know, banging the drums and making sure there were stories in the paper. Now all you need to do is put it on the internet and push a button and thousands of people. And I miss the old and photography conferences. They were fun. I mean, I remember, and it's maybe, you know, I was doing the show with Barry Hearn when he was promoting Chris Eubanks, and Barry wasn't there this particular day. He says, "You take the press conference, guy," because Barry normally he was the best front man in the world. So, you know, I was the nuts and bolts. I was the engineer. But we had Ray Close fighting Chris Eubanks, and Ray Close came in, and there were still all the troubles and everything in Ireland, and Glasgow's very much like Belfast and everything with the problem. So one of Ray Close was a Mormon by religion, and all we ever worry about in Glasgow is Celtic and Rangers and everything else. So one of the Scottish reporters said to Ray, he said, "Oh, you're a Mormon?" He said, "Yes, I am, sir." He said, "Are you a Catholic Mormon or a Protestant Mormon?" These are the things that you don't get on the internet. That was live camera, and that was funny, and everybody took it as funny and no derogatory in any manner. And it's that more intimate part that I do. And also, again, back then, the promoters and the managers and the license holders, we controlled what was happening because we had a vote at the boxing board. But the boxing board worked very, very hard to make sure that even although we were the license holders and their shareholder, they worked so hard to make sure that we had no vote with our money. And that to me was a very, very backward step. And I still think it's a backward step. We need to make, we're all making Dominic Cummings accountable. We're coming in now and contacting our MP and saying, "Well, what are you doing that?" Very difficult to do that now. So, but what can I say? I had 50 wonderful years and with a lot of success. And it's nice. It's nice that somebody remembers that I was there.
Was Barry Hearn the closest promoter that you was? Would he be the promoter you were closest to out of all the big ones?
He was my pal. You know, the first time we met, I think we had a great and grudging respect for each other. Didn't dislike one another, but we weren't madly in love. And then when we got together and you know, it was another English promoter, Jack Trickett, who had said, "You should speak to Tommy." And in Barry's words, Barry went, "It's hard work." And that was probably one of the nicest things that he ever said about me in the 30 odd years we've been friends. You know, because that was probably what I was famous for. It was hard work. But we done it. We done a few shows, and we became family friends. And I'm very friendly with, you know, with his son and daughter, and they're friendly with my son and daughter. And it's very, very difficult. I can hardly think at any time in the history of the last 60, 70 years where there were two people. I mean, I speak to him 2 or 3 times a week. to fill in the gossip, and also because he's my pal and he can tell me where to go, and I can tell him, and we have arguments like you do with your wife. But a true friend is the fallen date's forgotten, and that's it.
And his son's doing a good job as well, isn't he? I mean,
Eddie's doing a great. Eddie's doing a great job, you know. But I think that he's ideally suited for this, the whole new explosion of the internet and everything to do with the internet. You know, with Barry and I, you know, I think we've been quoted a few times in the paper that just said it's probably boxing's answer to Barnum and Bailey. You know, and I'm not really sure whether that was a good thing or a bad thing, but it was said anyway.
But now you've moved on to darts now, haven't you?
Well, that's Barry Hermit's to blame for that, because he knew I was retiring, and I think it was the right time to retire. You know, because I never ever wanted to be one of these people who overstayed their welcome or who went out of the game. I was retiring when I was 55. I'm 68 now. I was retiring when I was 55, and Barry talked me out. He told me I was far too young at 55. So I carried on to eventually. I spoke to him, and he said, "I've got this darts player." He said, "It's one to come over." I went, "Barry, I've never even played a game of darts in my life." "That doesn't matter," he says. He says, "You and him," he says, "will be the greatest partnership," he said, "about," he says. And I think it's because the two of us are a bit kind of stubborn, but Gary Anderson and I. And within 20 minutes, I became his manager. And the next few times, and we renewed the contract. And now it'd be like the breaking up of a marriage, you know. And technically, we have some agreement somewhere, but in technical terms, we just get on, and that's the lovely thing. And we ended up with a few other players because of that, but I'm more or less like Gary's personal manager. We've got another 10 players that we have, but my daughter Stephanie, who was, because things have changed so much, as you know, in your own business, with GDPR and all the bits and pieces that go. She spends more time with the lawyer in the last 2 years than I spent with the lawyers in 40 years. So the world is changing, and we need young people coming do it through. Where Barry needs Eddie, I need Stephanie, and the two of them do a brilliant job. But it's nice still to keep in touch, you know. Like, say, you've spoken to me tonight, and during the week there, I'll speak to Graham Lockwood, who used to be my old matchmaker. I still keep in touch with Paddy Byrne, who's in an old folks' home, and I keep in touch with Ron Gray and John Selabansky. And you know, I keep, you know, the school of 59. You can say that's what we keep together, and you know, I think we keep swapping stories in case one day one of us forgets.
So do you actually go to the darts and watch it, or do you just manage?
I do,
from
but and that's why I'm still in the darts, because I get the same buzz for watching Gary Anderson and the other boys playing as I got from the boxing. When something is no going right, I don't talk, which is very unusual. I sit there with the clenched fists and palpitations and everything else, you know, because it even goes back to the boxing when Jawed Khalid was defending his world championship, and things wasn't going just as well as I thought. And I just started wearing glasses at the time, but not on a permanent basis. So I had my glasses in my top pocket, and I'm watching, and things is not going great. And all of a sudden, Jav knocked the Russian down. Well, a great punch went down, and I went for a sitting position, straight up in the air. But as I was going up, I grabbed my breast pocket, and Simon Block, who was sitting at ringside, said, "Tommy's taking a heart attack," and he sent the paramedics round. But thankfully, he was wrong, because I was only stopping the glasses shooting out my pocket.
Oh God, Tommy, it's been such a pleasure talking to you. I admired you when I came into the sport as being one of the guys that, you know, I'd look up to and try and take inspiration from. So really, really great to talk to you, Tommy. And I wish you all the very best going forward in your darts, and I hope you stay a long time in the dart business as well.
Well, hopefully we will catch up, and it's a delight to be on. You know, because this is a world exclusive tonight.
I know,
Tommy
your first
Gilmour
time on Instagram.
Tommy Gilmour has never done Instagram. I believe I've got an account, and I think I've got a Facebook account, and I've got a Twitter account. But it's not really me, because I don't know how to do it.
Take care, Tommy. Really good speaking to you, my friend. Thanks very much.
And good luck with your other 3 guests tonight, Steve.
Oh,
it's
thanks
been
a lot, Tommy.
absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Care. So whilst we're waiting for Tommy to switch off, and thank you very much for him for coming on, we're going to be speaking next to Jordan Foster, who's a PR man in the world of boxing, and he does a hell of a lot for a lot of boxers. So we'll next be speaking to Jordan about what he does and how he works with all the fighters. So let's get hold of Jordan. Here we go. It was very good having Tommy on. He's somebody that's done everything, world champions, and now he's got Gary Anderson and darts players. Amazing, man. Jordan, how are you?
I'm good, Steve. How are you, mate?
I'm not bad. What are you up to in the lockdown?
Working away. Nothing's really changed for me. I'm still working from home. But yeah, what about yourself? You in a routine?
Yeah, well, I'd say I am, because I've got my proper job to do, my financial advising job, and I am absolutely flat out doing that from home and meetings all day long. So it's good. And obviously the boxing's, to a certain extent, we've got to wait and see how everything plays out, haven't we? So
what are your thoughts on that?
I honestly can't see. I can't, even with taking the best case scenario with the medicines and the potential things that are coming. I can't see us being back before March next year. Really, it's February, March next year. A small halt. I can't see it, but no. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, isn't it, Steve? It's gonna be. I think it's tough for a lot of boxers as well during this time, and it's tough for everyone. Everyone's suffering, aren't they?
I mean, the thing is, I'm not sure you're going to. Well, I don't think you're going to get people wanting to go to places like your call if the virus is out there. So unless the virus just disappears or a vaccine comes, it's going to take a while till there can be a treatment and people get the confidence back. And you know, the best case scenario with a vaccine is September, October, by which time people are maybe more comfortable by December, but we won't have the lead-in time to run shows. So it does look, unless we get backing, to next year. And there's an argument that if the medicine doesn't come, that you might not even be back in March. But I'm hopeful that the vaccine they've got at Oxford's going to work. So, that's what I'm basing it on. And then, you might be able to get a very small show out in December, something like that. But, remains to be seen. So tell us about what you actually do in boxing and the role that you perform.
Well, actually, the boxing roles is quieting down for the time being. So obviously I did stuff with Portobello, which was mine. I started that in hospital and grew that to a certain level. Worked with Charlie Duffield for a fight he had on Sky. And then one thing led to another. I put the case study from that online. And a very long-winded short story. Hector Bellerin's business partner saw it and then pulled me into his company to do basically what I was doing in boxing, but for footballers and boxers.
Oh, that's perfect. Perfect. There's more money in football, that's for sure.
Yeah, there is. And I'd imagine a bit like yourself, football was probably a first love.
Yeah.
But I'm always grateful for the boxing. But yeah, so it's something that I enjoy. And now at Be Engaged, which is the company, we're now looking to get into boxing. But there's obviously a few barriers and a few people that maybe you need to maneuver around sometimes that you want to steer clear of. But the same role really. So just, it's kind of weird because I know you and Kevin and Martin preach it a lot. For some reason, footballers are quite happy to have this like fan engagement going on when there's no real benefit to them. They're always going to get paid. Yet you have boxers who a lot of the stuff is based on how many fans they've got, and they're not really that bothered a lot of the time. They're not really.
Bizarre, isn't it? It's bizarre. You get some of them, but a large proportion of them don't, do they? They just, it's very strange. And some of those are the ones, I'm not talking about boxers under my management, but these are the boxers that struggle to sell tickets. And then you see them on social media saying, this business, it's a terrible business. And you look at it and think, but you're doing nothing to help yourself.
No,
mean,
that is a stickler. Yeah, that's a.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I've got Brad Pauls and Linus Udofia, two of my fighters. Both of them bust their balls with PR. You know, Linus is always
Yeah.
down at Luton. He goes to all the amateur fights. Brad's busting his balls, and his brother down in Cornwall. They work so hard to build their fan bases up, and they've succeeded massively. But others don't bother, and they think it's going to come to them, and it really isn't. It just really isn't. I agree with you totally. I agree.
I think there's even fighters on. There's certain fighters at the minute. I was trying to explain to someone who's quite heavily linked with CBD, and I was trying to explain to him that it's very all well and good keep preaching about the CBD that he may or may not have shares in, but no other company is going to want to come on board because all they see on your timeline is you just going on about CBD. There's no story. You're not giving anything back to fans. There's nothing about you, and they just can't see it. It's just a case of, well, I'm on Sky, so I'll give a massive exposure. You don't really.
No,
It's got to move past that now.
Okay, I've followed what you do, and you're very clued up on the PR world. You really get it, and it is. I mean, I'm sure boxers would help, but even if you're helping a boxer, they've still got to. It's not going to all fall in their lap. They've got to do a lot of it themselves.
Yeah,
as well.
And that's the thing with. So we did something at work with Hector the other day. We were doing some PR with him, and it's always, is that the right answer? Should I be saying that? What can I say here? With boxers, a lot of the time, do you fancy doing it? Oh, have I got to do an interview? Oh, okay. It's a pointless task then. If that's the way you look at it, it's pointless for everyone. But yeah.
Are you an Arsenal fan?
No, I'm a QPR home and away, but Arsenal are my prem team. Second team. Just because of Hector. We have a few clients at Arsenal. We have Rob Holding, Reece Nelson. We do a lot of work with Serge Gnabry. So I do have that Arsenal link after. But I hear you're an Arsenal fan.
I'm a big Arsenal fan. I had a season ticket I started in 1969, and I think I gave up my season ticket probably about 7 years ago. I said I would never go to a game while Arsene Wenger was manager again. I was so sick of him that I said that I gave up my season ticket. And to be honest, I've gone back to the odd game, but I've not, because I just felt that I just felt that he'd become a dictator at the club, and I wasn't happy with what was going on. So, and I thought we were never going to win anything ever again with him. So I was happy. I just wanted him to go, and I'm glad he did. And obviously, we didn't get a great manager in replace, but I think Arteta's got the right idea. So hopefully he'll. But I mean, the damage that Wenger caused in the end is going to take a long time for somebody to come in and sort it out. So
not a fan at all, are you, Steve?
Not a Wenger. Well, I was. I think he was the best manager in the world.
Yeah.
Best manager in the world, but he got old. He got too set in his ways, and he no longer had that talent of spotting the players like he did when he got the French originally. And he lost his touch. It's the same in my business. When you've got a fund manager looking after funds, a fund manager can be brilliant for 8 or 10 years, but you've got to know when to jump off him and move to the next fund manager, because they all go on too long. They all get too old, and they all
savage.
So
nothing else, Steve.
Yeah, well, listen, good thing about me, I'm still going strong at 57, so I've still got life in me yet. But I think some people they just lose it. But no, I mean, Hector Bellerin's he's a great player, and I mean, he's a vegan, isn't he? So
he's a vegan. He does a lot he doesn't buy anything new now. Everything's from charity shops. Every camera he gets he's very much he's very eco-friendly.
Oh, yeah, and he comes across very, very well. He does, Bellerin. So no, it's good.
Exactly. He's an example if you do it right, what can be achieved. Because he's probably now a voice of the Arsenal dressing room in some ways. A lot of what he says carries weight. And I think for boxers, I don't know why, but it's just a slower process drilling that into them that there is benefits. Some are very good, some take it on board. But I mean, when we looked at the commercial market in the UK for boxers, there's not many making the most of it, if you're honest.
No. And mate, it's something that I think, especially after the COVID, it's going to be even more difficult. So I think it's going to be harder for the smaller hall boxers to sell tickets. It's going to be harder for people to get a present. So it's going to be a suppressed market. So they've got to work even harder at it. And if not, I always say when a boxer turns over with me, you've got 2 jobs. You've got fighting and you've got marketing and promoting yourself. If you don't like either job, stay amateur, go unlicensed, become an electrician, do something else with your life. because, and it's being honest, but none of them can ever say I never told them the truth, because if you can't do both jobs, don't do it, because there is no career. You can't have a fighter come from the small hall who sells 60 tickets and get a deal with Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren. They're not going to sign them. So,
no, it's not.
Unless they've got some exceptional talent. So you've got to develop both things, and they need help sometimes, but they've also got to have the will, as you would know, to do it. But yeah, I mean, so do you see your future more in football now going forward? Then I know you're going to.
I don't really know. I think at the minute I'm just happy doing what I'm doing. What I did find is when I went in, I was a bit like, oh, is there anything you can really take here into football? But it's the same principles. It's the same stuff. It's just how receptive the athlete is to your ideas. And even now, you might give a player some ideas for their socials, and no, they don't want to do it, or even basic stuff. Like when we had lockdown, we came up with an idea of our players playing. So for every young supporter of the club they play for, playing FIFA or COD whilst they were in lockdown if it was their birthday. And some are really good, and do it. But then you propose the same idea to boxers, and they're like, no, I'm not doing that. And it's at some point you have to give something back, because really you're charging a lot of money for some shows at small level aren't the best. I mean, I think we're lucky with Goodwin, but some aren't so good. So if you want people to pay money, then you got to give them something back.
And I say some of the shows are so bad. All it does, a boxer fights on some of those shows, and all it does is damages them, because people won't ever go back again. Boxers have to be very careful what shows they fight on when they're starting off in their career, because fighting on the wrong shows can ruin them, and that is 100% true. I've found it so many times. So
one of the things I wanted to ask you, Steve, is you've clearly been successful in your other career, in your financial career. Why did you make the jump into boxing?
Because I'm going back 10 years. My daughter hadn't been that well, and she wanted to do a boxing show. So she wanted to be a promoter, and it was one of the things I promised her. And then she said, well, I want to do it now. And I thought, shit, what have we got to do now? So literally, I went and got a promoter's license. We put on a show in Milton Keynes. See, literally, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Put on a show in Milton Keynes, got ripped off by all the boxing scumbags, right? They all stole tickets, stole money. It was like a baptism of fire walking into it. And I thought, never want to do this again. But the board said they wouldn't let Olivia promote a show for 12 months. So I had to keep it going. For 12 months. And then once I'd done it for 12 months, I was sort of captured. And I thought, I can try and make a bit of a difference. And that was it. And so I sort of stayed in it. And then I said to my wife, I think I'll become a boxing manager. And she said, because I used to have a horse racing business that was massive. We had 24 racehorses all running around Europe. And and that was still going on at the same time as this at that time. And she said, listen, I don't want you doing any more stuff. It just carries on. And I said, look, I promise you I'll only have 7 boxers, and that'll be it. And obviously it went out of control, and then my son Josh got involved, and then we stayed in it, and Kevin joined. And so it's just sort of an accident, really. But I haven't done it for money. I've done it for the passion of the sport, and I do it because I want to see people succeed. But it is a hard business to be in, because no matter how ethical you are and decent you are as a human being, which I am, you're still going to get somebody put a knife in your back. And it happens. And I found that really difficult at first, but I've just got used to it now. And I just sort of respect the ones that don't put the knife in my back. But unfortunately, in this world of boxing, it's just exacerbated that behaviour. But if, that's how I got into it. But if I'd known what I know now, would I do it? I don't know. But it's just something I love to help the fighters develop. And I think I'm very good at what I do in managing their careers. So I carry on doing it. And I think we'll continue to do it. But accepting the fact that I used to get so upset when I got stabbed in the back, it made me feel ill for a week. But now, a boxer can tell you one day, right? You're the best person ever. They've won a title. You've done this. You've done that. You've done this for them. They would never be where they were without you. You've been amazing. You've got them on big shows. You've done this. You've done that. They're wonderful. And 2 months later, they'll say to you, I think it's the end of the road now because somebody's tapped them up. It's just unbelievable. And that's what you have to deal with. No matter what somebody says to you, you can never be 100% sure that they really, really mean it. And that's quite sad. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the best, is it, mate? Apart from that,
that's what we live in. But I'm still here, still going strong, and it still
Yeah.
doesn't poison the way that I deal with people. I deal with everybody still the same, and I treat everybody as if they're going to treat me back the same way. And that's really, that's what we've got to do. But yeah, so going forward, then where do you live yourself? You live in West London, do you?
Lower Sunbury.
I live in
Sunbury on Thames.
So what made you get into boxing? Let me ask you the same question.
Yeah, a bit of a weird one. So I studied journalism at uni. Didn't really know where I was going, but kind of blagged that I was going to try and get into sports journalism to my dad. And then woke up one morning and thought, Christ, I'm actually going to have to put the wheels in motion here, because he was on at me. Started doing a bit of blogging, then started working for the locals, then ended up working for an agency and covering QPR in the Premier League. Perhaps I was a little bit difficult sometimes, but I was young. And then from there, I won an award with the FA for Best Young Sports Journalist. And then after winning that on, say, the Saturday, the following Monday, an editor texted me and said, "Oh, George Grove's press conference this week, do you fancy it?" But I didn't know anything about boxing. But I'd watched his fight against Frotch, which he just had. And I said, yeah, I fancy it. Anyway, I turned up to this restaurant in Hammersmith thinking that I was going to get led through to like this room with the press conference, and it was an intimate lunch with him. And I had to say to him, "George, I don't know anything about boxing. I'm just here for what I thought was a press conference and to take notes." But he was really nice. His coach at the time was Paddy Fitzpatrick and Barry O'Connell.
Yeah.
And then Barry's like, "Why don't you come back to the gym after?" So I went back to the gym, met some of his fighters, and yeah, was kind of blown away by their work ethics. I said, "I'll get you some interviews out there." Then was getting interviews out there, and then fell really ill because I've got really aggressive Crohn's. So I had my stomach split, and I had that taken out. So I spent like 6 months in hospital. And while I was in hospital, one of the boxers that I got an interview said, "Has it been published?" So my mum was checking my phone and was like, "There's a message from so and so." So I was explaining. Told her to text back, say this, put it here, and next day text back again. And so my mum was going between like messaging the whole time. And in the end, I just said that just tell him I'll write the message, and I said tell him what to put up in his Facebook and Twitter. And then out of nowhere, one of his mates texted, "Oh, I heard you just did this for so and so. Could you do it for me?" And I was like, there might be something here. And when I was looking around, I was thinking, these boxers, to be honest, other than yourself and Matchroom, I didn't really see anyone making the most of social media. So I thought maybe there's something here for it. And then, yeah, at the peak, it had about 25 clients. But a bit like you, I was maybe getting to the end of my tether with being stabbed in the back, threatened by managers. And I thought, maybe this is time to exit. And then the job in football kind of was offered to me, and it was a no-brainer, really.
Well, that's good. Just so you know, we keep getting a load of questions coming through here. This is not about answering questions today. If anybody wants to ask boxing questions, we do a Facebook Live. We do a Facebook Live on 6:30 every Sunday, and we'll answer as many questions as you want. So anybody watching this wants 5 questions. Somebody's asking me about the legal side of boxing. I'll happily talk to you about it on Sunday night on Facebook Live at 6:30.
You got more coming in, mate. More questions.
Still there, Jordan, yeah. So Jordan, listen, thank you very much for coming on tonight. Very much appreciated. So you still there? We're still going? Still there. So Jordan, thanks a lot. It's really time we've ever spoken, and it's really good speaking to you. So now we spoke to Jordan. We're going to move on to Darren Townley, a very, very talented kid from Plymouth. So sorry we're a bit behind. We've had some good guests on tonight, and it's been really good fun. So let's try and find Darren Townley. Both Jordan and Tommy have been excellent guests and really have been able to. Darren, how are you?
Dave, how's it going? All right?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you, man. Very good.
How are you coping with lockdown?
It's a little bit of a struggle. It's very boring, and you know what it's like as a boxer. It's hard. I'm not having a goal there. It's pretty hard to get motivated for anything. But we've been trying to train every day and just keep busy. You know, I like to keep busy and just stuck at home doing nothing. You know. But yeah, I've been training most days, so just trying to keep busy.
No, you're at home with your other half, are you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she loves her training as well, so we've been going down the park training or at the gym.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
Cool, yeah.
So your career was temporarily put on hold, and I think it was fair to say you've had a bit of a up and down career. You've got a 10-3 record, haven't you? And
yeah,
you've won your last two. You're building back up again.
Yeah.
It's sort of been, it's a bit strange. I mean, obviously the dream, we need to get you a Southern Area title. That's what the aim is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my end goal. I mean, each kind of target I hit, I'd set my next target, and my next goal is the Southern Area, or that's a dream come true. You know, like I'm 32 now, so I mean, what have I got? Probably another 3, 4 fights in me. So yeah, ideally, if I was to get a shot at the Southern Area, that would mean so much to me. You know.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment you've got the Southern Area was due to be contested by Jamani Camiro and Conor Vian, wasn't it, in May?
Yeah.
And I guess that will be rescheduled.
Yeah.
If Jamani wins it, I'd imagine he may move on, so that may create the opportunity for you to have a crack at it. So, it's difficult. But, I mean, again, we've still got a date, although I can't see it happening. We've got Plymouth booked for the end of October, but we need, I think it's going to be a push for that to happen.
Yeah, I totally agree, yeah. I mean, I was just, like you said, I think it was with Jordan, you said about the crowds, you know, with like the Guildhall venue. It's a brilliant venue, but I mean, if you've got 1,000 people, well, people are not going to buy tickets, are they? You know,
you can't blame them. Not until they feel safe. People
Yeah,
have got to feel safe, haven't they, to do that? So, and even if we get a vaccine in September or treatment in September, it's too early to be able. It's just going to come too soon, I think. But listen, we'll have to go. We'll have to go into next year. We'll go where we want, but we've got to step it up for you and get you going. So, I mean, training wise, what's your training setup now going forward?
At the moment, as you know, I've got my own gym now, so it's ideal. I can still get in the gym and do a bit of training. So, but with the lockdown, it's like you said, it's quite demotivating. So, but I'm still training. I'm still training every day. I'm going down the park training. To be fair, like I said, I like to have a goal in place. So we've set challenges. I've set myself challenges. We've been doing step sprints, doing the steps, and I've been looking at trying to do building. So I've been doing like Empire State. We've done that, which was like 1,600 steps, and then we're looking at the Mount Everest, which is like, it's ridiculous. It's like it'd take like a week to do, but I love having a challenge and a focus. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when you finish your career in boxing, is boxing going to be something you stay in, or when you finish, you will? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. You know, I got my gym now, and I love that. I love teaching the kids, the young lads, and they love it. You know, and they got a lot of respect for me. So I just find a real good passion in that, and it's almost the same buzz of when I'm in there. You know, like I love just seeing them do well. You know, and seeing them improve. It really gives me a buzz. You know, so I think that is definitely the next thing that I'll be. I think a lot of ex-pros do that, don't they? They go to coaching but yeah, I think that's what I'll find my passion in next. You know.
I mean, what I always find strange about you, because I think you're one of the nicest guys in boxing, and I sort of find you're so gentle and so nice and kind, and yet you go in the ring and there you are, sort of having a go. It's sort of how you switch from one to the other. It's it's quite amazing. But yeah, I mean, so where is your gym based, Darren?
I'm based in Plymouth, where I live. It's a little place called Plymstock, so it's quite out of the way, really. I mean, we've got a few good gyms in Plymouth now, so it's all good. Yeah.
And what do you do there? And what do you do? Is it do you do PTing in there?
Yeah, I do a bit of personal training. I'm just in the process of getting affiliated with England Boxing, which has been a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest. It's took me nearly a year to get. I've been dealing with a guy called Richard Powers. He's good as gold, to be fair. I think he's at the Southwest guide with England Boxing. But it's so much of a procedure to get finally affiliated. But I'm nearly there, so I'm looking forward to getting affiliated with them guys, and then I can get the guys on the amateur road. You know.
So that'd be great. So, and then you'll probably end up being a pro coach as well, won't you? You'll end up doing it.
That'd be nice in the long run. Yeah, definitely.
But in the meantime, you've got some titles to win and some career successes to have. So
definitely,
wish you all the best. I'm looking forward to being a part of that, Darren. So
thank you, Steve. Yeah.
Anyway, well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, mate. You look after yourself, and we'll
Cheers,
touch base soon.
Thank you, mate. See ya.
Cheers, mate. And that's Darren Townley from Plymouth, who's got his own gym set up and obviously in the hunt for titles in 2021. And finally, a young man who's only had 2 fights. He's got a bit longer to go, but he's definitely a man that's got the ability to win titles, and that's young Mark Butler. Let's get hold of Mark. Wait for Mark to join us. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Steve. How you doing? You all right?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah, so Darren's had we've had 15 fights. We've only had 2, haven't we, so far? But I mean, we know how talented you are, and but explain. It's been very hard for you ticket-wise, hasn't it? You've had the experience of it. It's not easy.
No. Yeah, to be fair, I thought I would have done all right this time because I was doing the training with the lads, and I was getting rid of the tickets that way. So I think it'd be a bit easier for me now that I'm doing that.
Because I mean, I mean, if people haven't watched you, they should go and stick some video out on YouTube because I can't believe you don't have hundreds of people coming to watch you even at the moment because you're so exciting to watch. I mean, you're not one of these pitter-patter merchants, are you?
No, but I didn't really promote myself well enough in the amateurs.
Oh, did you not?
No, not really, no.
So what did you, when you say that, what did you not bother taking people with you? Did you just go and...
No, I took a few of my mates in that, but I never really like promoted myself really like I should have done.
But it's not easy though, is it? It's not easy.
No.
I know you're obviously getting the knack of it now. Well, I'm glad you are because there's no providing you can get through that particular problem, and there's no doubt for me you'll be winning titles. I mean, I fancy you winning an English title, very minimum, and that's the least I'd expect from you. But I mean, do you feel that as well?
Yeah, well, my goal really is to be like the British champion, but that'd be a goal of mine.
Yeah, I mean, I think
realistically, but just to be in some good fights as well. That's what I want. Just to be in a couple of good fights. That's just want to be in some good fights.
You're not scared of 50-50 fights, are you? Because you've often asked for them, haven't you?
Yeah, hopefully I can get some now that this is all gone on. Because I think there'll be a lot more people that are up for 50-50 fights now.
I think you're 100% right because I think what's going to happen is people are going to want to test themselves earlier to decide whether they're good enough to go on to the next level, aren't they? I think 100% that's going to happen. And you can't blame them. It's I think the days where people go, and there's one boxer, and I'm not going to mention his name, I don't manage him, but you see them get to double figures plus, and they're still fighting absolute nobodies. And you think, when I say nobodies, I'm talking about people that they should have fought in fight 2 or 3, and that becomes pointless after a while, doesn't it? I mean, it's just really so. I mean, I think from your point of view, you've still got time on your side. But yeah, I think you're definitely going to be in fights, and there's no reason after about 6 or 7 fights you can't be fighting for a title for sure. Yeah.
Well, that'd be decent. That's sort of what I'm hoping to go for. Yeah, some titles.
Yeah, so tell us about who trains you.
I train up in Brighton up with my amateur coach Richard Evans, and he's now gone pro. So we stick together. So. We work well together, and Xavier Miller helps out a bit. Yeah,
he's a good trainer, Xavier, as well. Richard's good, and Xavier's good as well. So what's it been like down in Brighton? Is everybody flocking to the coast?
Yeah, it's really busy now. Last week, all the beaches were well busy and all that sort of stuff now.
No social distancing?
No, it's not going on down here really. No.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite bad. The beaches were packed, but.
So, are you looking forward to getting back in the gym again?
Yeah. Hopefully, I think July the 4th we're looking to open it up again.
Oh, you are. They are allowing gyms open from pretty much now. Professional sportsmen are soon to be allowed to go back in. So it's July. So yeah, gyms are the actual gym as in full gym open.
For the amateurs, I think it's the 4th of July. That's
right. But professionals can go in before that, so it's really good. But yeah, do you have much sparring down there? Is there many you can spar? Do you have to go outside for sparring?
Yeah, most of the time, like up in like London and all that sort of stuff. But we got a few people that come down to us, so it's not too.
Who's the toughest fighter you've sparred? What's been your hardest spar?
My hardest fight, don't know. But Yusuf pretty decent. Yusuf Kumar, he's good. Yeah. Jack Brooker, he was good sparring.
Yeah, he's a good kid as well.
Yeah.
So keep going. Well, Mark, I think 2021 will be towards the end of the year. I think we'll be heading for titles. So thanks a lot for joining us today, my friend. And
cheers,
look forward to an exciting 2021.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, cheers.
You take care, Mark. See you soon.
All right, bye.
Cheers,
bye.
mate. Bye. and that was Mark Butler. Remember that name because he's a man that's going to be winning many, many titles. Now we're back here again Monday and Wednesday next week, as well as Sunday night 6:30 on my Facebook Live page. That's where we do the questions and answers. So please feel free to come in then. Just to let you know, next Monday's guest, Leon McKenzie, former professional footballer, former English title challenger, Miles Shinkwin, former English title champion at light heavyweight, Simon Dowling, press photographer, and Richie Gray, former pro, who really has got so much to offer the sport in terms of he was brilliant at marketing, an excellent fighter before injury curtailed his career. Thanks so much for watching tonight. We'll look forward to seeing you on Monday. But if you want to come and see us on Facebook Live for questions, then please come and see us on Sunday. Thanks a lot.